నేను ఇంకొక నోట్ ఫైల్ పెడుతున్నాను ఇప్పుడు. ఇప్పుడే పెట్టమంటున్నాడా? నేను ఇప్పుడు ఇది మన 360 నోట్ ఫైల్ ఒకటి ఇప్పుడే పెడుతున్నాను. ఆర్డర్ కూడా చేయాలి. ఏమో జస్ట్ చేసి పెడుతున్నా. ఇప్పుడు ఒక 2 నిమిషాలు అయితే కన్ఫర్మేషన్ తీసుకొని పెట్టారు.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, guys. So yesterday we're actually talking about S3, right? So let's continue from there. You're able to hear me, right? Yes? No? Yeah, I'll share. Just give me a minute, I'm sharing. Okay. So we are actually talking about the S3. So S3 is basically storage for internet, and we can start uploading the files into S3 by creating a bucket. A bucket is a main level folder, and we do have some sort of naming guidelines when you want to create a bucket. Like your bucket name should be globally unique, and your bucket name can be in between 3 to 63 characters, no uppercase, only lowercase and numbers, cannot start or end with a hyphen or a dot. Actually, you can have, or you cannot have any special characters except hyphen and dot, and you cannot start with them. You can use in between the bucket name, and you should not resemble like an IP address. And once you create a bucket, which is a main level folder, you can upload the files into it. And each file is called an object in S3. And an object can be up to 0 to 5 terabyte, 0 KB to 5 terabyte. Messages. Okay. Yeah. 0 KB to 5 terabyte. And then we are actually discussing about the common usage patterns of S3, where we can actually, if you want to share any object, you can share with the URL, HTTP URL. And we have also discussed, for example, if you have users globally with the help of CDN, Content Delivery Network, with the help of CloudFront, actually, what we can actually do is we can access the frequently accessed data with low latency. Okay. And other one is there are 3 general approaches. Just give me a minute. To configure the access. For example, if you have an objects in S3 bucket, by default, only the user will be able to access what do you call the objects, okay, and it's only private to him. But what you can do is you can make it as public, and you can make everyone to access the objects. Yes. And the other way is you can actually define, or you can give a control access. Maybe you want to give access to one person, and you can just block to the other person. Okay. And next comes with the encryption. So we can also encrypt our data in S3. You can actually use encryption by AWS. S3 would be doing the encryption, or you can also go for a client-side encryption. So we have 2 types of encryption. One is the server side, where AWS would be doing the encryption, where the other one is the client side, where customer will encrypt the data and he will upload the encrypted data into it. Okay. So if I can little brief about it. Just give me a minute. Okay. So when I say server-side encryption, that means usually when a user is trying to access an S3. Okay. So if you go for server-side encryption, before it's saved to the S3 disks, it will encrypt it. And when a user is trying to retrieve it, it will decrypt it. And user would be able to access a normal data. Okay. For the end user, he will not find any difference. Either it is encrypted or unencrypted. But if you go for client-side encryption, before he saved the data into S3, he would encrypt it at his end, and he will upload the encrypted data into S3. That is client side. Client would be doing the encryption. Okay. And when he is retrieving the data from S3, he would be getting the encrypted data only. He would be using a third-party tool to decrypt it and use it. That is the difference between the server-side encryption and the client-side encryption. Okay, in server-side encryption, we have 3 ways to manage the encryption keys. For example, in server-side encryption, encryption can be done by AWS because it's server-side or S3, but when it comes to keys, keys can be managed by AWS one way. And in second way, encryption again it's AWS because it's server side, but keys can be managed by the customer by using an AWS service called KMS. So both are actually managing the keys. So AWS is providing what you call a service, and customer is using it to create an encryption keys. And in the third way, encryption can be done by AWS again, but the keys can be managed by only customer. Okay, so when I say server side, definitely the encryption will be done by the AWS or the S3, but the keys can be managed in different ways. Now, when it comes to client side, because it is client, the customer would be actually encrypting, but the keys can be managed by the customer in a service which is provided by AWS, which is KMS. So both actually end. And the second way is customer would be encrypting the data as well as managing the keys also. It can be both. We have only 2. Okay. Is the client-side encryption because of trust issues with AWS? Nothing as such. If already have client is having their own like a sort of a softwares which they can encrypt it, they might be encrypting at their end before they save to disk. That's it. Okay. Even if AWS is doing the encryption, you can manage the keys if you want to, or you can also give the whole thing to AWS also. Yeah. That's about the encryption. And next comes with the versioning. So, whenever someone, Imran said, what about multi-part upload? Guys, if you have any questions on the thing which I have explained, then you can ask me. Or if I have completed talking about a service, then you can ask me if I have not yet covered. I mean, nothing wrong. I may not be able to cover that, but you can still ask me, but not in the middle, okay? We have not yet spoke about multi-part upload. Why you're asking about that now, Syed? So coming to the versioning, usually when you upload an object in a bucket, maybe file1, file.txt. Usually it will save into the bucket, that's fine. But if I re-upload with the same object name into the bucket, usually it will replaces the existing file. For example, you have 2 folders, Windows folders. Okay, when I'm copying a file from one folder to another folder, if you have the same file name in that folder, it will ask us, right? Do you want me to replace it, copy it, something like that? Okay, but in S3, it will not even ask that. If you re-upload with the same file name, the same object, okay, it replaces the whole object. Okay, but if you enable the versioning, so when you upload, it would save into the bucket. If you enable the versioning and if you re-upload it, it will create another copy of the file with different versions. Okay, so how do we differentiate? With the version IDs. So the version IDs are controlled by AWS or S3. No, nothing like sorry. No, I didn't mean that. Okay. See, if I have used that term, we will definitely discuss about it, and we will be talking. We just started no S3 yesterday only, that to the last half an hour. So we need to discuss a lot of features. We'll come to that. I mean in that way. Okay. No. Please don't say sorry. Okay. I'm sorry if I hurt you. Okay. So what is versioning is if you re-upload the same file again, it will create multiple versions of the same file name. Let's take you are building an application. You're developing an application. You don't develop all the application code at the same time or at a time. So you would be doing it over a period of time. So what you can do every week you can just enable the versioning and you upload your code. Okay, so maybe in the third week you felt that second week code is better than the third one. You can just go and download the second one and you can delete the third version. Okay, and if you want to see how it was progressed over a period of time, yes, then you can go for it. Okay, so versioning is basically keeping the multiple variants of the same file name in a single bucket. 1 second, guys. I see the chat. Okay. If I request a file, then at least latest upload will be given. Yes, Pavan. Correct. Okay, so one of the S3 best practice is by enabling the versioning, because it protects against the accidental overwrites and deletes with no performance penalty, generates a new version with every upload, and it is easy to retrieve. For example, yeah, if you have deleted an object in S3 by enabling the versioning, actually the object will not get deleted. Okay, instead it creates a delete marker on top of it. Okay, no worries, we'll see the hands on definitely. Okay, we'll try to delete that object and we will see what will happen. Okay, so it will also protect from the accidental deletion and accidental overridden or overwrites. Okay, and once you enable the versioning, you cannot disable it. No, you can only suspend it. Okay, so once you enable and if you re-upload the same file, it creates multiple versions, and once you enable it, you cannot disable it, but instead you can suspend it, you can stop it temporarily forever or forever. Okay, and AWS will not charge you if you are enabling the versioning. No, AWS will not charge you, but you should be taking care of the objects volume size. For example, if one file is of 10 GB, if you just re-upload 10 times, it would be 100 GB. So you should be ready to bear the storage cost. Okay, you should be very careful when you're going for versioning for a particular object, because if an object is huge, then it may cost you more. Okay, and next comes with the cross origin resource sharing. Okay, cross origin resource sharing is basically, for example, you have two domain names. It's like this. I have an example.com, okay, and example1.com. Okay. And you have some sort of static pages and you're using some images. Okay. And in both the domains, you are using some same images. Okay. So instead of uploading, and you're actually uploading the files of this particular domain into different buckets. Bucket 1, bucket 2. Okay. So if you're having the same files saved in two different buckets, with the help of cross origin resource sharing, what you can do, you can just upload in one bucket and you can give the permissions to this bucket to access the objects from this bucket, and you can host it. So that whenever you are actually hosting this application or the website, this website will be able to access the objects in this particular bucket. Okay, so that's basically called cross origin resource sharing. So cross origin resource sharing. Okay, it is sharing from a different bucket. Okay, so it defines a way for client web applications that are loaded in one domain to interact with resources in a different domain. Yeah. And next comes with the hosting static websites. So S3 can be used to host static websites also. Okay, first of all, we'll see what is static and dynamic website. I'm not sure if I have told you or not. For example, if I want to create my own website, maybe as a trainer. So what will be there? Maybe about me, what is the courses I would be teaching, and my contents, contact us page. Maybe I'll have 3 to 4 pages. Okay, and whoever sees that pages, it would be same, right? I mean, whoever connect to my website with the endpoint, they would see the same HTML pages. But if you see Gmail or Facebook, okay, so they have credentials, and according to the credentials, the respective data would be fetched. That means the data or the content would vary depends on the user. That means the credentials are actually saved into a database. So for dynamic websites where the data changes according to the person, that means it is having, or I can just tell in this way. If a website content is changing from person to person, that means the website is having a database. Okay, so that's called a dynamic website. But whoever sees, if the content is not changing, then that's a static website. Okay, in S3, we can go for static websites where we can just upload HTML pages, okay, and we can start hosting it. Yeah, so what we'll do, as a guided lab, what I would do, I would just upload 2 pages and I would host it. Okay, you can see that soon. Yeah, and if you see, when you're hosting a static website, when you're going for static website, this would be the URL, and you see the URL, it is HTTP now. Yesterday someone asking, is HTTP, HTTPS. Okay, so if you're going for static website hosting, you can host it with HTTP. But if you're trying to access with a URL to access an object, then it will show you HTTPS. Okay, so in S3 you will see both. And next comes with the backup and archive critical data. So what you can do is you can also save backup data in S3. Okay, either from on-premises or from your EC2 instances. Okay, S3 can be used as a backup solution too. And next comes with the data consistency model. Okay, so let me just explain here. Okay, so this is basically a region. You create a bucket in a particular in a region. Okay, so maybe North Virginia. Okay, and whenever you upload a file into a bucket, your file would be replicated in multiple availability zones for high availability. Okay, so let's take, I have uploaded a pic. Okay, one second, guys. Guys, you're not able to hear me? Okay, I mean, I'm getting messages in WhatsApp telling that. Okay. Audible. Huh? One second. I mean, I'm getting messages in the WhatsApp telling that they're not able to connect it. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Fine. I don't know why only 65 are joined. Yeah. Okay. So, for example, what I have done, if I upload an object in S3 bucket, your object would be replicated in multiple availability zones in the same region for high availability. You see only one object, but internally AWS replicates the object in multiple copies. Okay. If you re-upload the same object again, and if you don't enable the versioning, what will happen? I said it will replace the whole file, right? So if I re-upload the same file name, same object name, usually it will go and replace it one by one. Before it replaces all the copies, if I try to retrieve it immediately, okay, if I try to retrieve it, if I want to fetch it immediately, I may get old data. I may get the data from here. If it is from here, it was not yet replicated. It was in the process of replicating. So that process is called eventual consistency. Okay. So eventual consistency is something like if you re-upload the same object again, before it get replicates, if you try to retrieve it, you may get the old data. And if you can just refresh and then check again. Okay. Okay. I got it. Now you're able to see, right? Yeah. Okay. So what I'm trying to here tell is, for example, if you upload an object in S3, your object would be replicated in multiple copies in different availability zones in the same region. Okay. And if you re-upload with the same object name, what will happen? Object will start replicating. Before it replicates, if you retrieve it, and if it gets from this availability zone, you may get the old data. That process is called eventual consistency. Eventually, it would be consistent. Okay, and if you can just refresh it and then check again, by the time it would have got replicated and you would be getting the latest data. So if you ask me how much time it will take to replicate, it all depends on what is the volume size, what is the size of your object, how big it is. Okay, so you can go up to 5 terabyte for an object. Okay, even AWS can't tell how much time it will take to replicate. Okay, and this eventual consistency will be there for updates. You see, re-uploading is basically updating, right? And deletes also. So if you delete an object, please repeat it. I told you, right? I just told, right? Okay, these are the messages from before. Maybe. Okay, so if you delete, no. See, AWS will not charge you for replication. No, AWS would take care of it because it is telling that please save in S3 because we save your object into multiple copies for high availability. So if you save some sort of data into S3, there is very less probability of losing it. That is what AWS tells. So you can trust S3 because it is giving high availability by replicating the object in multiple copies. That's what AWS tells. But it will not charge us. No. If it is charging, why don't we go outside? I mean, we can store in our device also, right? It's not like that. Okay. And for deletes also, if you delete an object, so it might be deleting one by one. In that meanwhile, if you try to retrieve it, yes, you will get the data. And if you refresh it, yes, you may not be able to because by the time it would have got deleted completely. Okay, so you will have the eventual consistency for updates and deletes. You will have strong consistency for new objects. When I say strong consistency, matlab, as soon as you upload an object, if you immediately retrieve it, of course you will get the data which you have just uploaded, isn't it? Let's take, I have uploaded file.txt. I have hi in this. Okay, so when I upload it, it will replicate. And if I immediately retrieve it, obviously I get hi only. But if I update it with hello and re-uploads it, and before it replicating, if I retrieve it, I may get hi only. But if I refresh it after some time, I may get hello. Yeah, understood about the consistency, eventual consistency, the strong consistency? The same thing. Cool. Okay, so if you put an object, if it is a new object, if you immediately read it, you would get the same data. But if you update it with a version 2 and it would re-uploads, it will replaces the whole file. And if you, before it get replicating, if you immediately read it, whether you will be getting V1 or V2 doesn't, AWS is not sure about it. It may take time. Okay, so that's about the consistency in S3. Next comes with the storing data into a simple storage service, which is S3 again. So first we'll talk about the storage classes. Replication time depends on the file size. Correct. Correct, Teja. Storage classes. So according to your data access patterns, you can use different storage classes in S3. First comes with the standard one, which is a default one. Okay, so if you have some data in S3, if you are immediately if you are frequently accessing the data, okay, maybe the latest data, and whenever you are retrieving it, it should be immediately available to you. If that is your use case, you can go for standard. And this is by default. I don't have control over this. By default, your data would be in standard storage class. Okay, let me repeat it. If you have some sort of data and you are accessing the data very frequently, and whenever you are accessing it, it should be immediately available to you within milliseconds, not even seconds, milliseconds. Then if that is your use case, you can keep your data in standard storage class. Okay. And it will give you 99.99 of availability. And we have standard infrequent. So if you have some set of data, you don't access it frequently, you access it less frequently. But even if I access less frequently, whenever I'm accessing it, it should be retrieved immediately as a feature in standard. Then you can go for standard infrequent. Okay. So if you move your data to standard infrequent, you will actually save some sort of cost when compared to standard. Okay. It also gives you 99.99 of availability. Okay. So if you're not accessing the data frequently, you can move to standard infrequent to save the cost, obviously. And next we have intelligent tiering. Actually, I have some data, but I'm not really sure whether I use it frequently or infrequently. Then you can move your data to intelligent tiering. So S3 will intelligently observe your data access patterns, and it will move your data to standard or standard infrequent. Okay. If you're accessing a data very frequent, it will keep in standard. If you're accessing less frequent, it will keep in standard infrequent. Very simple. Okay. It also gives the same availability. And next we have one zone infrequent access. So I said that in a region, if you upload an object, the same thing, it replicates itself in multiple copies, right? Okay, but if you go for one zone infrequent access, you are telling to AWS that please save my data in only one availability zone. Yes, you are actually compromising in the availability to save the cost. And the cost would be less when compared to other one, the standard infrequent. Okay, so generally in standard, your data would be replicated in multiple copies in different availability zones. But if you choose one zone, you're telling to AWS that please save my data in any one of the availability zone. But if AWS has chosen this availability zone, and for some reason, if this availability zone went down, the customer must be okay. Even if one availability zone goes down, even if the availability zone goes down, if he's not able to access the data. Okay. And we have Glacier also. Glacier is basically for archival data, for backup data. So each and every organization will have some backup data. Leave about them, we will also have some backup data, right? Maybe our memories, photos and all. Okay, you want them, but you may not be accessing much. You want to archive it or a backup it. because you have your one copy in your phone, but you want it a backup. Then you can store in Glacier, and it is cheap when compared to other storage classes above ones. Okay, and the retrieval time takes almost 5 to 8 hours. No. Okay, and if you want to retrieve Google Photos, huh? Mm, Google Photos is like you will be saving in cloud, but will we have different options like archiving and all in Google Photos? Yes, I'm not sure. Okay, so in Glacier, if you want to save archival data, a backup data, then you can use this Glacier for it, where the retrieval times take up to 5 to 8 hours. And it may take more than that if you are actually retrieving it more data. It all depends on how much data you're retrieving it. But if you want it, you can also retrieve it in few minutes also, but AWS will charge you if you want to retrieve it in minutes. But if you see in standard and all these things, you can retrieve it in milliseconds. But in Glacier, you can retrieve it from minutes to hours. Okay. We also have another storage class, which is Glacier Deep Archive, where it will take 12 to 16 hours. It may take days also. So in Glacier Deep Archive, your data would be saved really deep, so that it takes a lot of hours and even days. And again, it depends on how much data you're retrieving it. And you can keep your data in Glacier Deep Archive if you want to access it once or twice in a year. Then you can keep it in Glacier Deep Archive. That's what AWS recommends it. Okay. That is what Balaji. It all depends on how much data you're retrieving it. You may get it in minutes if you're just retrieving it a very small file. Okay. If I make a static website in using, you cannot go for a static website for Glacier files. No. Okay, Pawan. Okay, so these are the different storage classes that we have in S3. One is standard, where you frequently access it, but frequently access data, and the retrieval times would be milliseconds. Then we have standard infrequent, where you access it infrequently, but retrieval times would be milliseconds again, like standard. And we have intelligent tiering. If you are not aware of data access patterns, if you are not knowing at what data you're accessing frequently or infrequently, then you can move to intelligent tiering. And we have one zone, where your data would be stored in only one availability zone, where you are compromising in the availability, right? But what if the availability zone goes down? It will be a problem for the user, right? But he would be saving the cost if you go for one zone. And we have Glacier. So Glacier is basically store your data in archival mode for backup data, where the retrieval times would be from few minutes to hours to 8 hours maximum. Okay, and we have Glacier Deep Archive, where we would be retrieving it in 12 to 16 hours. Basically, it may take days also. It all depends on how much data you're retrieving it. Okay, and you can save your data in Glacier Deep Archive if you are accessing it once or twice in a year. Okay. So can we migrate our data easily from one storage class to another storage class? Not one method, storage class. Okay. So does that down also means permanently delete data? Down? Glacier Deep Archive? Pawan? Does that down also means down ante నేను అక్కడ అనలేదు down అని. Oh wait, a lot of questions. 1 second, I'll answer. So Sumant is asking, can we migrate our data easily from one storage class to another storage class? Yes, we can do it very easily actually. We'll talk about that also, don't worry. And downtime of AZ, okay. No. See, downtime ante you will not be able to access the data for some time, for few hours atla. And then when the availability zone is up and running, you can access it again. Not deletion. It's not deletion. Okay. Yeah. Ma'am, when there is no cost for replicating data in more availability zones, how one can save cost in one zone infrequent access? Okay, see. For example, if you are saving your data in standard for 1 GB, it is charging you $1. Okay, if you go for one zone, you might be paying only $0.5 for 1 GB. So the cost is for the storage class. Okay, Nandana? Yeah. Understood about the storage classes, the different storage classes. Ma'am, replicating means taking more copies. Correct. Correct. Yes, replicating is taking copies. Yeah. ఇంకా ఏమైనా questions? సో ఏం జరుగుతోందంటే మీరు మీటింగ్లోకి లేట్గా వస్తున్నారు. 1 సెకండ్. See, you guys are coming to meeting very late. లేట్గా జాయిన్ అవుతున్నారు. ఏంటంటే లేట్గా జాయిన్ అయితే మిమ్మల్ని అలౌ చేయట్లేదు. సో మాన్యువల్గా అలౌ చేయాలి అంటే ఎవరైనా ఉండాలి అక్కడ. సో ఇఫ్ దే ఆర్ నాట్ సీయింగ్ ఇట్, దెన్ మీరు అట్లా మీకు అలౌ చేయకపోతే మీరు క్లాస్ అటెండ్ అవ్వలేరు. సో ప్లీజ్ ట్రై టు జాయిన్ ఆన్ టైమ్. ఓకే. బాబోయ్, మెసేజ్లు పంపించారు మీరు. అందుకే వాట్సాప్ ఇవ్వకూడదు అసలు కదా మీకు. సరేలే, ఇచ్చేసా కదా. మైగ్రేషన్ ఎక్కడ మాట్లాడాను అసలు? అచ్చా, సుమంత్ మైగ్రేట్ అన్నాడానా? ఓకే, యాక్చువల్లీ ఇట్స్ నాట్ మైగ్రేషన్, ఇట్స్ మూవింగ్. ఓకే, మైగ్రేషన్ అంటే ఏంటి అంటే, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మీరు ఇల్లు మారుతున్నారు అనుకోండి, అది మైగ్రేషన్. ఓకే. How to select between Glacier and Glacier Deep Archive? Very simple. See, EBS కూడా మౌంట్ చేయాలా if you want to use it? దానికి అంటే మీరు కంప్లీట్గా క్వశ్చన్ అడగలేదు హేమంత్. When we access object from which availability zone we will get it? Good question, but we know, you know what? You actually create a bucket in a region, and your data would be replicated. So you really don't know from which availability zone you are getting it. We can't know. Okay. Laptop ki charging. Okay. Thanks. Hemant, can you please elaborate? Can you please elaborate your question? Hemant Andra, EBS kuda mount cheyala ante, then if we get old data. క్వశ్చన్ కంప్లీట్గా అడగండి ప్లీజ్, బికాస్ నాకేమవుతుందంటే అన్ని మెసేజెస్ వస్తున్నాయి కదా, ఏ క్వశ్చన్కి ఏది అంటే ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ నేను మీ పేరు చూడాలి. ఓకే, సో వెంకట ఆదిశేష్ ఈజ్ ఆస్కింగ్, ఇఫ్ వీఆర్ రిప్లికేటింగ్ డేటా ఫ్రమ్ 1 AZ, which is down for some time. No. If there is a downtime. Okay. So Venkat ఆశిష్ ఏమడుగుతున్నాడంటే ఓకే ఫైన్ గుడ్ క్వశ్చన్. సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మనం స్టాండర్డ్లో స్టోర్ చేస్తే 3 different అవైలబిలిటీ జోన్స్లో స్టోర్ అవుతుంది, కరెక్ట్? సో ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ రిప్లికేటింగ్ ఇన్ ఆల్ ది అవైలబిలిటీ జోన్స్, okay, and for some reason if this one availability zone goes down, will that data would be replicated in that availability zone or not if you update it? Okay, so ఆశిష్ ఏమవుతుందంటే, so when this availability zone is down, obviously it will not get replicated, but once it is up and running, it replicates immediately because these availability zones are connected together with low latency. Okay, అలా అన్నమాట. Yeah. Ma'am, why does retrieval take such long time? Do we have correct? See, you are telling, see, when compared to other storage class, Glacier and Glacier Deep Archive is very cheap. You know, for 1 GB you would be charging for $0.04, something like that. ఒక $0.1 కూడా కాదు, చాలా తక్కువ. Okay, so if you are going for lower cost, they might be saving in magnetic tapes. Okay, they don't even tell that, but yes, we can just assume that they were storing in a different storage devices where it takes time to retrieve it. Okay, yeah, great. I have created an EBS volume in Linux operating system. Okay, you have to attach it, Hemant. Then mount annaru, attach antaru actually. How to choose between Glacier and Glacier Deep Archive? I didn't answer. See, if you are actually retrieving a data once in a month or twice in a month, then you can go for Glacier. But if you are going for once in a year or twice in a year, then you can go for Glacier Deep Archive because the retrieval time is very more. Okay, and if you are retrieving it once in a month or twice, it's good to move your data, keep your data in Glacier because it takes from few minutes to hours, no? But here it will definitely take days, hours, maybe days also. Okay, because magnetic కాబట్టి it takes that much time, maybe. Yeah, సో దట్ ఈస్ వాట్, నో, మనకి వాళ్ళు ఎక్కడ సేవ్ చేస్తున్నారన్నది సంబంధం లేకుండా మీకు ఎక్కువ టైంలో రిట్రీవ్ చేయాలా, గ్లేషియర్లో పెట్టుకోండి, లేదా స్టాండర్డ్లో పెట్టుకోండి, అంతే. వెరీ సింపుల్. ఓకే, కస్టమర్సా కస్టమరా సుమంత్? కస్టమర్స్, ఓకే, మనమే చేయాలి, ఆర్కిటెక్ట్స్ మనమే చెప్పాలి. Plus actually we need not worry about that because the customer's data will be with us, we will be managing it. So architect would be designing that architecture or the infrastructure in cloud. Okay, will the system need to be running while data is being retrieved? Sleep mode lo pedta ayipoddi kada, that's okay. Yeah, మరి టర్న్ ఆఫ్ అయితే చేయలేవు కదా, స్లీప్ మోడ్లో పెట్టాలి in order your system to be running. Yeah, okay. Yeah, see, I'll tell you, the solutions architect course which we are doing, you know, we will get the highest pay in the market itself, the whole market. Developers, admins, వాటందరికంటే కూడా architects కి highest pay వస్తుంది. So if they are paying high, because we are closely talking to the clients, client requirements, and మనం బిల్డ్ చేసే ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ మీదే అన్ని డిపెండ్ అయి ఉంటాయి, ఆ పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ అయితే కానీ ఏదైతే కానీ. No. See, if you are a fresher, see, they will not give you all the responsibilities to you initially. No. Okay, so you would be working as a team member, and you or a senior person would be guiding you. Very simple. Don't worry about that. Okay, so yeah, I'll give you a quick glance. Yes, even I felt that. ఒక చాలా స్లోగా వెళ్తాను guys, please understand. ఏం మాట్లాడుకుంటున్నారు పా? సెలెక్ట్ డూ నథింగ్ వెన్ ఐ క్లోజ్ ద లీడ్ అండ్ క్లోజ్ ద లీడ్ అండ్ హ్యావ్ ఎన్ యాప్. వాట్ గైస్, మీటింగ్లో నుంచి నేను జగన్ గారు చెప్పి తీపిచ్చేస్తాను ఇట్లా చేస్తే. మీరు కాన్సన్ట్రేట్. సో S3, as said, it's a storage for internet where you can store any amount of time, any amount of data, and you can access it from anywhere on the web. Okay, in order to store data into S3, the first thing which you're supposed to do is creating a bucket. Okay, a bucket is a main level folder, and you have some sort of naming guidelines which I already covered. And once you create a bucket, you can upload the files into bucket, and those files are called objects. And an object can be up to 0 to 5 terabyte, 0 KB to 5 terabyte. And you can have unlimited number of objects in a bucket. That means S3 bucket supports unlimited storage. Harshavardhan, I told you at least you should be in sleep mode ani cheppanu. I told. Okay na? Yeah. Now, next comes with the versioning. Versioning is something like, okay, one second. అచ్చా హర్షవర్ధన్, అర్థమైంది నాకు ఇప్పుడు. సరే, దానికి రిప్లై చేశారా? ఓకే ఫైన్. మీ లాంగ్వేజ్ నాకు అర్థం అవ్వలేదు. సరేలేపా. ఓకే, నో ఐమ్ సారీ దెన్. సో versioning is basically, if you enable the versioning, it will keep the multiple variants of the same object name. For example, if you have a bucket, మనకి లైన్స్ వద్దులే కానీ ఇలా డ్రా చేద్దాం. Okay, so if you have a bucket and you have an object. Okay, so if you enable the versioning, what will happen? If you re-upload the same file, it will create another copy of the same file with the different versions. That is versioning. And once you enable the versioning, you cannot disable it. You can only suspend it. Okay, and AWS will not charge you for enabling the versioning, no. But you may need to take care of the storage cost which it is associating. Okay, that's about the versioning. And next we spoke about maybe cross-origin resource sharing. If you want to access the data or the files or the objects from one domain to another domain, being there in the different buckets, by enabling the cross-origin resource sharing, you can use the images from one domain in a different domain. Okay, it can be HTML pages or images or whatever. Okay, and we also spoke about the encryption. In encryption, you will have server-side encryption, client-side encryption. In server-side encryption, the encryption will be done by AWS, but the keys can be managed in 3 different ways. One is the keys will be managed by no domain name ante facebook.com, gmail.com అయ్యన్ డొమైన్ నేమ్స్ కదా. ఓకే, సో ఒక వెబ్సైట్ ఇంకొక వెబ్సైట్ నుంచి ఒక వెబ్సైట్లో కొన్ని ఇమేజెస్ ఉన్నాయి మీరు ఆ వెబ్సైట్ ఇమేజెస్ యూస్ చేసుకుందాం అనుకుంటున్నారు ఇంకొక వెబ్సైట్కి, దెన్ క్రాస్ ఆరిజిన్ రిసోర్స్ షేరింగ్. ఓకేవా? యా. So when it comes to encryption, in server-side encryption, the encryption will be done by the Amazon S3, but keys can be managed by in 3 different ways. One is AWS will manage it. in second thing, the customer will manage the keys in a service which AWS provides, which is KMS. And in the third way is customer itself will manage the keys completely. When it comes to client-side encryption, obviously the customer would be encrypting the data, but the keys can be managed by the customer, and here the customer and the AWS. Okay, and then we spoke about the storage classes. So we have 6 6 storage classes. One is standard, where you access the data frequently, but the retrieval time should be milliseconds. We have standard infrequent, okay, where the retrieval times would be milliseconds, but you access the data less frequently. We have one zone infrequent access, where you save your data in only one availability zone to save the cost. And we have intelligent tiering, where if you are not aware of the data access patterns, whether you access some data frequently or infrequently, you can move to intelligent tiering so that your data would be moved automatically. And we have Glacier. It's basically for the backup data, where the retrieval times would be few minutes to hours. And we have Glacier Deep Archive, where it will take 12 to 16 hours. Basically, it may take days also. Okay. That's it. These are the topics which we have discussed. Isn't it? Did I miss anything? Okay. So Teja, EFS doesn't support versioning. No, it will not support versioning. Okay. So I understood. So for example, if you create the same file, it will just replaces the same file. That's it. It will not throw an error. It is not something in EFS. In Linux, it is like that. In Linux, if you create the same file again, it will just replace it. Yeah. Intelligent tiering expensive than standard. Frankly, I'm not sure about it. Intelligent tiering is expensive than standard. No, I don't think so, because if this is expensive, it would be at the first. Okay, it is less than the standard infrequent actually. Okay. How to retrieve old versions, we will do the hands-on, Pawan, no worries. And strong consistency and eventual consistency, yes, I'll cover that. Okay. Okay, so eventual consistency is basically one second guys, I'll answer. If you upload an object in S3 bucket, it replicates itself in multiple copies for high availability. If you re-upload it with the same object name, it replicates, or actually, of course, to replicate it replaces the existing one, right? If you don't enable the versioning, if versioning is not enabled, it will if you re-upload it, it will replace it. So before it replicates, or if it before it replaces the objects, if you immediately retrieve it, you may get old data. Okay, if you can refresh it and wait for some time, you would get the latest one. Okay, and that process is called eventual consistency. Okay, so if you re-upload it and if you immediately retrieve it, you may get the old data, and this eventual consistency will be there for updates and deletes. If you're trying to delete it, before deletes, if you retrieve it, you may get some data, but refresh, it will be gone. And you have strong consistency for new objects. Okay. Strong in S3, can we use versioning? That's what I said. Yes, Nishant. It's not Nishant, it's Nishit. Sorry. Yeah, we can use it. That's what now we discussed about the versioning. In S3 only we can use versioning. Okay. During retrieval process in Glacier Deep Archive, does the interruption from user end will make any changes? Okay, guys, you should understand. Once you move your data to Glacier Deep Archive, okay, what is this form? During retrieval process, does the interruption from the user? Okay, from the user will make any changes. Okay, got it. Okay, see, once you move your data to Glacier Deep Archive, okay, so first of all, you can only retrieve it. So updation will not happen. Okay, first of all, if you want to update it, you have to upload it. When you upload, by default it will be in standard. Then you need to move to Glacier Deep Archive. Okay, the process would be very different, and the interruption will not happen. No, if you ask me. Okay, do we have class tomorrow? No. See, guys, I just want to confirm you that we have classes only from Monday to Friday. Okay. So Sai Gayatri is asking, one second. Sandeep is asking, do we able to delete the past data? What do you mean by past data? Please elaborate. Okay. Gayatri is asking, is EBS, in EBS can we use versioning? No. See, versioning is only possible in S3. Okay. We can delete Balaji. We can delete the past data versions. Yeah, we can delete it if you want to. See, wait. We will do the hands-on. Your questions would be cleared. Okay, I think I will do it now if you want me to do. Okay. Compare EFS and S3. Okay. See, S3 is a storage for internet. See, storage for internet means you see EFS or EBS. You can store data into EBS or EFS only through EC2. These are the EBS and EFS are the volumes of EC2. But S3 is not like that. It is just a storage for internet. That means you can just start uploading it without EC2 only. Okay. And this EFS is a shared file storage for multiple servers where you can actually upload your files, your data. But in S3, you can upload any type of file, any type of object. Can be a movies or your songs or your files, anything. Okay. Yeah. And EFS is only for Linux, right? For Linux machines. But S3, we don't have any specific kind of thing for using a storage device, right? Like how do you store data into Google Drive? The same way. Okay, and in EFS you have two different storage classes. One is standard and standard infrequent, but in S3 we have many. Okay, so those are difference between the EFS and S3. And if once versioning is suspended, can we able to access it again, ma'am? See, for example, you have enabled the versioning, okay, and you have re-uploaded file twice. That means it will create multiple versions. If you suspend it, what will happen? That is the reason we cannot disable it. See, you should understand the difference between suspend and disable. Suspend means furtherly it will not create versions, but you will have the existing versions with you. You can use them, you can download them, you can do whatever you wanted. That is suspending. Disabling enduku undadu ante, disabling ante enti asalu versions undakoodu ani. That is the reason in versioning it will not support disabling. You can only suspend it, you cannot disable it. Ala anamata. And if once version is suspended, can we able to access it again, ma'am? We can access. I said no. I mean, after re-uploading data into the bucket, the data that we upload before can be deleted by us. అయ్యో నాకు అర్థం కాలే. Yes, can be deleted by this. Yes, Sandeep. See, ఒకసారి మనం బకెట్లో డేటా అప్లోడ్ చేశాక we can delete it and you can upload again. Doesn't matter. Can we merge two versions? Merge ante what do you are expecting when we merge? I saw a video on EBS. Attaching is not enough. We need to mount it. I got a little confusion. No. See, what is happening? EBS, when you attach it, manam ippudu C drive, D drive laga, you cannot just open and then create files. First of all, you have to make a file system. Okay, so you should make your EBS volume to be eligible to store data. Okay, daniki oka instruction istaru. Maybe ఏమంటారు మేక్ ఫైల్ సిస్టమ్ అని చెప్పేసి. ఓకే, మేబీ దానికి మీరు మౌంట్ అడుగుతున్నట్టున్నారు. ఓకే, అండ్ ఇన్ ద అసెస్మెంట్ ఆల్సో ఐ హ్యావ్ గివెన్ యూ హౌ టు as a lab challenge. I told you how to to store some data into EBS to check in Google only. Okay, yeah, fine. S3 is global, ma'am. Avunu Jayashree, it's global. I have H1 high in version 1, buy in version 2. Can I make it high buy in same version? No version. Sorry. No, it's not possible. It's not possible to combine two versions. No. Okay. So that's about the S3 features. Till now, we will see what is left. Okay, so let's complete the storage classes, guys. We already discussed, right? So let me just read out and then we'll see more and more features about them. Okay, first comes with the standard. So this standard storage class offers high durability, availability, and performant object storage for frequently accessed data. Okay, it delivers low latency and high throughput. S3 standard is appropriate for a wide variety of use cases, including cloud applications, dynamic websites, content distribution, mobile and gaming applications, and big data analytics. And it provides durability across at least 3 availability zones, at least greater than or equal to 3. And we have standard infrequent. So this standard infrequent storage class offers all the benefits of standard, but it runs on a different cost model to store infrequently accessed data, such as older digit images or older log files. And there is a 30-day minimum storage fee applied to any data placed on it. True. So when you are moving to standard infrequent access storage class, you should keep your data minimum of 30 days in the storage class before you move to a different one. Okay, so without keeping of 30 days, you cannot move to a different storage class. It's a mandatory. Okay, and next we have one zone infrequent. So this one zone infrequent access stores data in single availability zone. It is ideal for customers who want lower cost option and who do not need the availability and resilience of a standard or standard infrequent. As said, if you are not aware of the data access patterns of your data, then you can keep your data. Oh, I'm sorry, not that. I'm not talking about, I'm just trying to, it is not intelligent time, right? Okay, so one zone is basically your data would be stored in only one availability zone to save the cost. Okay, it is a good choice for storing secondary backup copies of on-premises data or easily recreatable data. Okay, you can also use it as a cost-effective storage for data that is replicated from another AWS region. So for example, if you have some data in another region, okay, and you want to keep a backup in one region, I can explain like this. So you have a data in region 1, in bucket 1. Okay, so what you're doing, you're storing the same data in bucket 2 with one zone infrequent access. Okay, what if this goes down? No worries, you still have the data in bucket 1. Okay, so you can also use this as a cost-effective storage for data that is replicated from another AWS region. And we have intelligent tiering. So I'll tell you in simple words. So intelligent tiering is used when you are not aware of the data access patterns. Okay, so if you are not accessing the data, see, if an object was not accessed for 30 days, 30 consecutive days, then it will move to infrequent access storage class. Okay, if an object was accessing it very frequently, it will keep it in the standard. And here also you should keep minimum of 30 days to be in intelligent tiering once you move to intelligent tiering. Okay, and there are no retrieval fees when using S3 intelligent tiering and no additional tiering fees when objects are moved between tiers. Like one storage class to different storage class move ayetapudu, AWS will not charge you because intelligent tiering duty is to move to one storage class to different storage class. Okay, and we have Glacier. So this Glacier is basically secure, durable, and low-cost storage class for data archiving. If we keep more than 30 days, can it charge, ma'am? See, it will charge you even if you keep 30 days. We'll talk about cost. Okay. Implicitly, the data moves into infrequent access, ma'am. Implicitly, automatically. Implicitly, automatically anochu. Intelligent tiering will take care of it. Why it will move to one storage class to different storage class? To save the cost. Okay. Yeah. So this Glacier is you can reliably store any amount of data at costs that are competitive with or cheaper than on-premises solutions. To keep costs low but suitable for different needs, you have 3 options for retrieval data. Okay, so expedited retrievals are typically made available within 1 to 5 minutes. Standard retrievals typically complete within 3 to 5 hours, and bulk retrievals typically complete 55 to 12 hours. You see, I said only 8 hours, but it is telling 12 hours. Okay, actually 5 to 8 hours, but if you are retrieving more, it may take more also, more time also. Okay, and we have Glacier Deep Archive. So this Glacier Deep Archive is the lowest cost storage class for S3, and it supports a long-term retention and digital preservation for data that might be accessed once or twice in a year. Okay, but if you store your data in Glacier Deep Archive, it replicates in at least 3 availability zones, which will give you 99.99 of durability and can be restored within 12 hours. You know, actually it is more than 12 hours. It may take days also. Okay. Aditya is asking, there may be a rise of question that if it move from standard to infrequent, then data in another S3, maybe S3 bucket, can be moved to another region or other person S3 bucket. Are you specifying any feature in S3? Aditya, are you talking about cross region, same region replication? Or is it different one? Actually. So Pawan is asking, tell us real world application companies using AWS services. Oh my God. You know what, guys? Almost 80% of the companies are using cloud services. 80%. Now, malicious practice. Okay, wait. Maybe you are asking this way. If intelligent has access to move our data. Okay. Then without 30-day period also. It can change to another S3 bucket moment. Why we are talking about another S3 bucket here? No, see, whatever we are talking, we will be doing everything in a single bucket. Okay, so if you have some data and initially it is in standard and you have moved to standard infrequent and you have to keep your data in at least 30 days. That's what the AWS is defined for. Okay, now in this meanwhile, what you're telling, you can keep your data in another S3 bucket. Maybe this is bucket 1, this is bucket 2. He means in another storage class. Another storage class, Aditya, another bucket. Another bucket. Ela move chestavu asalu bucket lo in a bucket you have some data and you are moving to one storage class to different storage class in this bucket. Move means changing it. Correct. Aditya, ఒక్క నిమిషం నాకు చెప్తా. Unmute yourself, Aditya.
హలో మ్యామ్,
చెప్పు.
నేను ఆ స్టోరేజ్ క్లాస్ నుంచి స్టాండర్డ్ నుంచి ఇన్ఫ్రీక్వెంట్ మారుస్తున్నాను కదా మ్యామ్, అండ్ ఇన్ఫ్రీక్వెంట్ టు స్టాండర్డ్.
అవును.
సో ఇది ఒక లాగ్ మెయింటైన్ చేసుకుని 30 daysకి క్లియర్గా అది అయిన తర్వాత మారుస్తుంది అన్నారు కదా.
నో అట్లా కాదు. సి ఏంటంటే ఒక స్టాండర్డ్ నుంచి ఇంకొక స్టాండర్డ్ ఇన్ఫ్రీక్వెంట్కి మూవ్ చేసామనుకోండి, ఇందులో మినిమం ఆఫ్ 30 days పెట్టాలి.
ఓకే.
ఓకే, ఆ తర్వాత ఇఫ్ యూ డోంట్ మూవ్ ఇట్, ఇట్ విల్ బి దేర్. బట్ మినిమం 30 days అయితే పెట్టాలి. ఇప్పుడు అడుగు.
అంటే ముందు ఇంటెలిజెంట్లో కూడా ముందు 30 days పెట్టాలి మ్యామ్?
ఇఫ్ యూ మూవ్ టు ఇంటెలిజెంట్ టైరింగ్, లేకపోతే స్టాండర్డ్ లేకుండా మీరు డైరెక్ట్గానే ఇంటెలిజెంట్ టైరింగ్ పెడితే, ఇంటెలిజెంట్ టైరింగ్లో కూడా 30 days పెట్టాలి. అప్పుడు వెదర్ యు ఆర్ యాక్సెసింగ్ డేటా ఫ్రీక్వెంట్లీ ఆర్ ఇన్ఫ్రీక్వెంట్లీ, అకార్డింగ్లీ ఇట్ విల్ మూవ్ టు స్టాండర్డ్ ఇన్ఫ్రీక్వెంట్ ఆర్ కీప్ ఇట్ ఇన్ స్టాండర్డ్.
అంటే ప్రియర్గా
మూవ్
ఫస్ట్
అవుతుంది.
30 days అయితే ఇంటెలిజెంట్లో ఉంచాలి.
కాదు కదా, ఫస్ట్ ఇంటెలిజెంట్లో పెట్టాం మనం, బై డిఫాల్ట్ స్టాండర్డ్లో ఉంటుంది. దానికి అసలు లేదు స్టాండర్డ్ నుంచి. ఓకే వెయిట్ అచ్చా, నువ్వు అలా అనుకుంటున్నావా? సి, వన్స్ వీ కీప్ యువర్ డేటా ఇన్ S3, వన్స్ యూ అప్లోడ్ యువర్ డేటా ఇన్ S3, బై డిఫాల్ట్ ఇట్ విల్ బీ ఇన్ స్టాండర్డ్. స్టాండర్డ్లో ఉంచడానికి మినిమం డ్యూరేషన్ ఏమీ లేదు, నువ్వు అప్లోడ్ చేసి డిలీట్ చేయమంటే ఏ ప్రాబ్లం లేదు. కానీ వేరే స్టోరేజ్ క్లాసెస్కి వెళ్తే మాత్రం మినిమం డేస్ ఉన్నాయి. గ్లేషియర్కి అయితే 90 days, గ్లేషియర్ డీపార్క్ అయితే 120 days, వీటికైతే 30 days. అర్థమైందా?
ఎస్ మ్యామ్.
ఇంకేమన్నా ఉందా డౌట్స్? ఏం లేదా? మ్యూట్లోకి వెళ్ళిపోయాడు. ఓకే ఫైన్, లెట్ మీ ఆన్సర్ ద అదర్ క్వశ్చన్స్ ఇఫ్ దర్ ఆస్కింగ్. క్వారంటైన్ టైం అంట. In S3, do we have free storage? Yeah, you can store up to 5 GB for an year. 5 GB అంతే. ఓకే, ఫ్రీ టైర్లో మీరు యూస్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. So okay, so tomorrow, maybe on Monday, we will be talking about the other features of S3. We have a lot more to discuss. Okay, fine. So guys, happy festival. Why AWS insisting data to be there? Instead they should ask to pay for 30 days. No ma'am. See, please understand, if you are moving your data from one storage class to another storage class, the benefit which they are giving is the saving the cost. That means they were moving your data into a different storage device. ఇన్ఫ్రీక్వెంట్గా యాక్సెస్ చేస్తే మాత్రం ఏంటి, ఇంటెలిజెంట్ అయితే మాత్రం ఏంటి, గ్లేషియర్ డీపార్క్ ఇవాళ. సో ఇఫ్ దే ఆర్ డూయింగ్ సమ్ సార్ట్ ఆఫ్ ప్రాసెస్, దే ఆర్ యాక్చువల్లీ ఆస్కింగ్ యూ టు కీప్ ఇట్ ఫర్ మినిమమ్ ఆఫ్ దీస్ మెనీ డేస్, అలా అనమాట. సో ఇఫ్ యూ క్యాన్ మూవ్ ఫ్రమ్ one day, if you can move from one storage class to different storage class, it might be a problem for the AWS storage devices, అలా అనమాట. సో అందుకు 30 days మినిమం పెట్టండి, సో దట్ ఇట్స్ ఫైన్ అండి. ఇఫ్ యూ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు సేవ్ ద కాస్ట్, యూ కెన్ కీప్ ఇట్ ఇన్ స్టాండర్డ్ ఓన్లీ. నో, ఓకే. యా, కెన్ వి ఇన్స్టాల్ MySQL in S3? ఎట్లప్పా, S3 is not a server, it's a storage service. Easy, it is a server. Can we delete data anytime we want, or min days thing is applied? Yes, it will be applied. For example, you have 1 GB of file. Okay, you have moved to infrequent access storage class. ఓకే, సో మీరు డిలీట్ చేసినా ఉంచినా 30 days మినిమం ఆ కాస్ట్ వచ్చేసి మీ బిల్లింగ్లో పడిపోతుంది. AWS విల్ చార్జ్ ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ యూ డిలీట్ లేటర్. ఇమీడియట్గా డిలీట్ చేసి ఒక్కసారి మీరు మూవ్ చేశారు అంటే ఆ 30 days ఇంటూ మీ స్టోరేజ్ కాస్ట్, అంటే ఎంత వాల్యూమ్ ఉంది మీ దాంట్లో ఆర్ ఎంత డేటా ఉంది అనేది క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేసి మీ బిల్లింగ్లో పడిపోతుంది. సో మూవ్ చేసేసి డిలీట్ చేయొచ్చు, చార్జ్ అవ్వదు అని అనుకోవద్దు, ఇట్ విల్ చార్జెస్. Okay, yeah, and happy Ganesh Chaturthi. Yeah, same to you guys. Happy festival, happy weekend. మండే రోజు మనం హ్యాండ్స్ ఆన్ చేద్దాం. ఆఫ్టర్ 30 days దే విల్ ఛార్జ్. అరే 30 daysకి కూడా ఛార్జ్ చేస్తారు బా, 30 days ఆఫ్టర్ కాదు. ఓకే, so can we retrieve data anytime if our data is in any type of storage? Yes, you can retrieve it. Yeah, it may take some time. Correct. See, once you move your data to S3, you can retrieve at any point of time. So మీరు గ్లేషియర్ అయితే you have to wait for some time. Otherwise it will be retrieved in minutes or seconds. Okay, yeah, chalo guys, bye bye, thank you so much, tata, happy weekend. Yeah, bye bye, happy festival.